Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Today I want to talk about what you should be looking at when you're looking to buy a GTR. This is a question that I've received a couple of times, as well as one that I've seen posted numerous times online. And this is one from people who aren't considering buying the car. This is from people who have definitely decided they want to buy a GTR, and they're either going to take a look at one private sale or go and take a look at one on a car lot. And they want to know what specifically they should pay attention to and what issues they should look out for. This is by no means an exhaustive list, and there's some people I'm sure that go way more in depth than I do when looking at a car, and some people who probably didn't go as far as I do. But these were the things that I specifically looked at and paid attention to before I bought this GTR. The first thing you want to do is exactly what you're doing right now, which is watching YouTube videos and doing research on the car. There's lots of people who own this car, and they've all have different videos and different opinions on what they like about the car and what they don't like about the car. The reason why you want to watch these videos is you kind of want to get an idea of what interesting little quirks the car has, so when you go see the car in person, if it behaves differently than expected, you know something's off and you can pay attention to it. After you're done doing your research and you've learned what all the buttons do and all the clunks and clangs and interesting little quirks that the car has, you're finally going to go see one in person. And this is really where my list begins. I usually start where most people start because it's right there in your face, and that's the body and paint. You know, you're looking for dents and dings and stuff like that. But with the GTR in particular, it's known for having soft paint. So you definitely want to pay attention to the front end, see how bad the rock chips are, and the overall quality of the paint. In my case, mine is actually not that great. It kind of looks like someone took a sandblaster to the front of it. In hindsight, that's not a shocker because this used to be a Texas car, and for those of you who know, in Texas, when the wind kicks up, it almost becomes a sandblaster in that state. It's not a big deal to me because I plan on either wrapping the car or painting it a different color at some point in time anyways, so it's not a deal breaker to me. The downside to me was the seller didn't let me know. So when I showed up and I'd gotten off the airplane, I'd flown all that way, and I looked at the front bumper and I saw the state of it, I was a little disappointed and a little angry. If you would have told me beforehand, I still would have come up to get the car because, like I said, it's not a deal breaker for me. But when you're expecting one thing and you get another, it's a bit of a turnoff. So that's something else to consider too. You know, before you go see a car, ask as many questions of the seller that you think of things that might bother you. After you're done checking out the paint and body, the next place you want to turn your attention to is right here. For some reason, this plastic piece right here in the front grille is notorious for getting bubbles and cracks. Mine, as you can see, definitely has it, and it's not that uncommon. So if you go see a car and this is not pristine, don't be surprised, it happens. Fortunately, if it bothers you, you can use it to try and negotiate the price down. And there's different inserts you can get, like there's companies that make carbon fiber replacements for this. I've seen people had them resurfaced and then wrapped. So you have lots of options there, but just be aware that if you do go there and you see all these bubbles and cracks, it's pretty common. The next thing you're going to check, you might get a little dirty doing, and that's checking the tires. I know what you're thinking. You're looking at the tires, you're going, well, okay, it looks like they've still got good tread, and you can reach your finger into the first groove and feel the tread wear indicators and think it still has plenty of life, and you're good. You might actually be wrong. The GTR from factory comes with a bit of a camber on it, so it's going to wear the inside of the tires quicker than the outside. So you definitely want to feel all the way in to try and see how the tread is on the inside, just to make sure that you don't need new tires. Fortunately, the fronts are real easy. You just turn the wheel one way, look at the tread, turn the wheel the other way, look at the other tire, check out the tread, and you're good. Rear tires, you pretty much either have to get your head in there or put your head on the ground and look down from the back, or just reach your hand all the way in. Trust me, this is something you're going to want to do because you might buy a car thinking like you've got good life on your tires, and in a couple of weeks, all of a sudden you're looking at dropping $1,600 to $2,000 on a new set of tires. And while you're checking out the tires, it's also a good time to check out the brakes. I know what you're thinking. This is something you'd probably check anyways, right? When you go and buy any car, you check the pad to make sure it's got enough life, you check the rotor to make sure it doesn't have very much of a lip, and you're good to go. However, in the GTR's case, that's not correct. If you notice, these rotors are cross-drilled. You want to pay attention to those holes because they develop stress fractures. If you look at those holes and you're seeing stress fractures coming off of them, you're going to need to buy some new rotors pretty darn quick. It also lets you know that at some point in time, those rotors got pretty hot, which means either the car was tracked or the guy was having some fun in the canyons. Either way, you're gonna be looking at replacing them. If you see those stress fractures, you're gonna be looking at about 3 to 5 grand if you get actual Nissan parts. Or what a lot of people do is they go aftermarket. There's a great company called Speed by Design where you can get a whole set of rotors and pads for about 1,200 bucks. But there again, if you're buying a car, you're probably not too excited about dropping that much money right out of the gate. Next, you're going to take a look at the under trays. There's a whole bunch of under trays on this car to redirect airflow and help it with its aerodynamics. There's nothing real trick to that. Just kind of get your head down underneath there, make sure they're all there, make sure they're not cracked or broken, and then you can move on. Another thing you're going to check is the driver's seat. Now, I know you're used to checking the driver's seat anyways because it sees more wear and tear than the passenger side. Usually you're looking right here in the bolster or right here on the thigh bolster because people are constantly sliding on it when they're getting in and out of the car. However, the GTR seat has another issue. It usually sits right here because there's a hard piece that sits right there. As you can see, I'm pushing on it. You can see it's outlined in the leather already. And that area is notorious for getting a rip or a tear right there. Fortunately, it's not something you have to look for. It should jump right out at you, but it's something you should be aware of. Kind of check that area, look if it's already torn or about to tear, or if it's all still good. The last thing you want to do with the owner is ask if they have any paperwork. Whether it be a car lot or a private owner, you should see if there's any maintenance records or receipts for modifications of the car. Any decent car owner or builder will keep track of everything they've done to the car on what mileage and date, and you want to see what that's done. I know this kind of seems like another one of those no-brainers that you would ask for any car, but with the GTR in particular, you're looking to see when the transmission fluid was last changed. The transmission fluid, although you can do it yourself, is expensive. You're looking anywhere from about $500 to $700 just in parts alone, not including your labor or paying someone else to do it. So if you're coming up on that 35,000 mile mark with like a CBA or the 50,000 mile mark with a DBA, you want to know if that transmission fluid was changed and when. So after you've taken a look at the car and it's passed all the visual tests and you've checked all the things I've showed you, there's 2 more things you need to do, and please, please, please do not skip on these 2 steps. The first thing you want to do is get a Carfax. I know for some reason a lot of people have issues getting Carfax. The $35, just pay for the Carfax. If you even look at 2 or 3 cars, it's worth it to see if there's any issues with the car. Let's be honest, you're dropping anywhere from low 40s to over $100,000 on a car. Spend the $35, get the Carfax. There's gonna be things on that Carfax that you're not gonna see on the title. The title may be clean, but at some point in time, it may have been in a front-end collision that they fixed, and you're not gonna know that without seeing the Carfax. There may be a mileage discrepancy. There again, that may not appear on a title. So just pay the $35, get the Carfax. You can do it after you look at the car, or you can do it before you go. The next thing you want to do is get a Nissan PPI. A PPI is a pre-purchase inspection. What you're going to do is you want to call the Nissan dealership near the car and see if they have a GTR tech on premise. Not every Nissan dealership has a GTR tech, or they might not be there every day of the week. So call up, make sure they have a GTR tech, and schedule an appointment in case you want to buy the car. They're going to catch things that you're not, because they just can go way more in depth in the car than you're going to do. In my case, they found 2 things on this particular car before I bought it. One, they told me that the rear brakes needed to be replaced. Okay, not that big of a deal, I can do that. And they also told me that the passenger side valve cover gasket was starting to weep. It's kind of funny because even after I knew that, I looked at it, I can't see any oil coming out of it. It's not that bad. By weep, they mean it's looking like there's just a little bit of moisture along that gap. They're also going to be able to hook it up to their computer. The computer's going to be able to tell you if the ECU has thrown a code ever, and that will be good to know. And it'll also let you know if something like the transmission oil has ever gotten overheated, which means the car was either tracked or something went wrong. That's something you're going to know. In my case, the PPI seemed to cost about $120. I was pretty much already committed to the car, so I'd much rather know any issues the car has before I buy it while I can still walk away. I was reading online, there was one guy who did take a GTR in to get a PPI, and the Nissan warned him that it was having major electrical issues. If he didn't take it to Nissan for that pre-purchase inspection, he would have never known that and had a whole can of worms open up on him at some point in time that would have been very annoying or very expensive to fix. So there again, whatever you do, do not skip on getting that Carfax, and do not skip on getting the pre-purchase inspection from Nissan. Trust me, you'll end up saving yourself a lot of money in the future by spending a little. And there it is. That's my list of the specific things I looked at prior to buying a GTR. Like I said, this is just the stuff that's specific to the GTR. Don't forget to check the other things that you would with any other car, such as doing a test drive and checking the alignment, making sure the AC works, checking the oil, whatever else it is that you like to check before you buy a car. These were just the things that were specific to this platform that I paid attention to. As I said before, this is also not an exhaustive list. There may be things that other people check that I didn't. If you feel there's anything I've missed, go ahead and post in the comments down below. Let's help the community out when it comes to shopping for their next GTR. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up also. Let me know you liked it. If you want to see more GTR content in the future, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'm hopefully going to be uploading once a week, or if not, once every other week. You can now follow me on all forms of social media, which include Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and I'll leave links to those in the description down below. I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all out on the road.